Hi, so I figured I may as well just share my DNA results with the world. I did this a couple months ago, but I already told my friends and family, what the results were, but I never really shared them out. So I felt like, it'd be cool to actually put it up there, even though people may not care, but hey, why not? Just a bit of background. I'm 100% Greek. Both my parents are Greek, and my grandparents and everybody. So I was born in Greece, raised in Greece, and then I moved to New York, and now I live in Ireland. So kind of been a lot of places, but nobody really thinks that I'm Greek. Even when I was, in Greece, they would all call me American because my mom had American citizenship. So, yeah, like a lot of people wouldn't believe that I was Greek because I was kind of lighter and not as the standard Greek or stereotypical Greek was, like, olive tone, dark hair, dark eyes and stuff. I was kind of always a lighter person with blue eyes, blonde hair. So, not many people thought that I was from Greece. Like, I would usually get places like maybe Germany, France, maybe sometimes Italy, or one or two times Ireland, Scandinavia, maybe. Like, I think I've gotten Lithuania too once or twice, but yeah, never Greece unless I actually tell somebody that I'm Greek first, and they'll be like, oh yeah, never would have guessed, But yeah, I guess I don't conform to stereotypes, but I took my DNA test with Ancestry DNA, and then I also took my raw DNA data and I put it into MyHeritage DNA as well. And I feel like the results that I got were very similar. The only difference was, just small percentage points here or there. It was pretty much all the same regions, and yeah, it was very interesting, so I'll just go and show them. So, I'll start with Ancestry, kind of, and what it says here. I'll put also the results on the side as well, so it's kind of easy to follow along. So, it gives me 70% Europe South, and that is kind of broken down, well, not, just kind of like narrowed down into Greece, Turkey, and Albania. And I guess it gives Greece, Turkey, and Albania together because with all the wars and stuff that happened there, and with kind of the Ottoman rule and stuff, the populations of Albania, Greece, and Turkey are kind of very mixed. Also, the borders are very small, and people often cross all the time, and families are very mixed together, so the DNA is very similar in those regions. So I kind of see why the DNA is like that, but I obviously only identify with the Greek part. Then it gives me 21% Caucasus, which is kind of given in the map here as Eastern Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Red Sea, Black Sea, those regions over there, Mesopotamia, kind of, maybe a bit more west than it. But yeah, it's 21%, so I suppose it's, my family members who were from the parts of Greece, well, the parts of the Greek diaspora that are now Turkey, like the Pontian region or Constantinople and stuff like that. They would originate from the Caucasus region. So that's kind of cool. And then that's 91% of my DNA. And then it kind of falls down to low confidence regions, which is the other 9%. So 4% Middle Eastern, which could also, kind of add up to what the Caucasus bit is. It's just places like UAE, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, stuff like that. Then 2% European Jewish, which actually my mom gets, she gets asked a lot if she's Jewish because she has dark, kinky hair and she's very light, but she has green eyes, so a lot of people just ask, because she looks a lot like me. I look like my mom, rather. Yeah, I look like her. She doesn't look like me. And, she kind of gets asked a lot if she's Jewish or not, but I suppose 2% is not that much to base off your looks off of or something like that. Then I get 1% Europe East, which I suppose is, like Poland, kind of former Soviet occupation areas like Belarus, Lithuania, Baltics, and all those places. Less than 1% Great Britain, which I have no idea where that comes from. and less than 1% Africa North, which I suppose could be like, I don't know, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, and stuff like that. I could see Egypt because, you know, Alexandria was kind of a Greek influenced place. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Egyptian. What I find really cool in this test is that my family, well, my mom's side of the family, they moved to America in like I believe the 60s, to Canada at first, and then to New York. So it actually shows on the map in the Ancestry DNA that, you know, the migration to America. My dad's side of the family still all live in Greece, so they're not part of the migration bit, but from my mom's side of the family, you know, it's kind of cool that it actually shows the migration and that it actually, you know, can interpret that, you know, you moved, whatever. So I find that quite interesting. So that's really it for the ancestry bit of this. I feel like Ancestry DNA kind of is really cool because it actually breaks it down by country, and it actually shows you like on the map how like your family moved over the years and how like you started and where you like ended now, and it also lets you build your family tree and stuff. But it also has like a lot of features that I feel like you have to pay to get for, so it's kind of like maybe a bit of a catch, you know, they give you the DNA test for $69 or whatever, and then they make you like pay for a subscription to actually get access to public records to see where your family came from, you know, migration records, or, you know, just other people's family trees and stuff. So yeah, I felt like it was really helpful overall though, you know, kind of to establish kind of more of an identity of who I am, and kind of, you know, just keep established beliefs too, where I came from and stuff. Alright, so now I'll talk about the MyHeritage bit of the video. As I mentioned in the beginning, you kind of, after you take your DNA test with Ancestry, and I'm sure other DNA providers allow that as well, you can take your raw DNA data and do whatever you want with it. So I decided to upload it to different services, like to see what they would give me back for my DNA data. So I put it into Family Tree DNA and MyHeritage DNA, but I kind of like MyHeritage more, even though it's all pretty much the same, but this one is more specific with countries, and it's also like the percentage points are kind of way more specific as well. So it gives me to be 85.6% European, and of that it's broken down into 73.5% Southern European and 72.6% Greek and 0.9% Italian. The Italian bit I could see because, you know, my grandpa from my mom's side, he says like that last name from like his family, which is Molinos, is supposed to be either Italian or Spanish for mill worker. So don't know, but yeah, since they're from Kefalonia, which is on the west coast of Greece, it's about an hour away from Italy with a ferry, so even much less with a plane. Yeah, it's very close, so the DNA is obviously mixed, and you know, like southern Italy, like Sicily and all those places, the DNA is very, very similar to Greek DNA, so then it's also giving me 9.3% North and Western European, which is kind of France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, and all those places. I have no idea where that DNA comes from, but that's interesting, I guess. Yeah, I have nobody in my family, my immediate family anyway, who would identify with somewhere like that, but my mom took the test as well, and her North and Western European DNA was high as well, so it must be somebody in her family, because my dad, very dark complexion, he doesn't get kind of, you know, the European vibe. He gets more of like the Middle Eastern and Arabic vibe. Like a lot of people will ask him if he's from places like when he goes to business trips in the UAE or Saudi Arabia or places like that, people ask him if he's from there, or he's gotten Pakistani before and places like that he's totally not from. So anyway, and then it gives me 1.9% Eastern European, and that is broken down to 1.9% Balkan, which I get because Greece is in the Balkans, so This is probably referring to places like Serbia, Slovenia, Slovakia, Croatia, and places like that, Bulgaria maybe. And then it also gives me 0.9% Ashkenazi Jewish. So yeah, that's it for the European bit. The Jewish bit is also aligned with kind of how Ancestry gave me 1 or 2% for Jewish as well, so there. And then it gives me 7.2% Middle Eastern, which is a bit more than what Ancestry gave me. And 5.2% Asian, which is broken down into 5.2% West Asian. So that's kind of Asia Minor, so Turkey, so yeah, pretty much kind of where Greece used to be before the Ottoman Empire took over, so yeah. And then 2.2% African, which is broken down into 1.3% North African, which is also a bit more than what Ancestry gave me, and 0.7% Nigerian, which is kind of interesting because I never would have guessed that. But 0.7% is like very negligible amount, but still, it's really cool. Nigerian, yeah. Nobody in my family would identify with that. Again, I think that it comes from my dad's side of the family because of kind of like his darker skin tone, his darker features, and my mom, when she took it, didn't have this much African in her blood as well, because she has more kind of European DNA, well, European features in her. She did have a large percent of North African though, so yeah, that's really interesting and it's really cool. And you know, I feel like the DNA like whole experience thing was kind of like whole like going into myself and like kind of, you know, discovering things that I never thought of, you know, I would find about myself, or like, you know, much more insight into my heritage and stuff. So it's really cool. And I mean, I would definitely like recommend it to people, you know, who are trying to maybe look more into their roots, or kind of unsure about their heritage, or really don't know much about it. But yeah, it was a really fun experience to do anyway, and I would totally recommend it to people. So yeah.